of you.
Well, hi there. How the heck are you? Cindy Dole, and this is Home Wizards, your radio home for all things home, garden, and life improvement. This is what I love to do, is to talk about what I think is the most important place in your life, the spaces that you call home. And this is what we love to do, from the little things to the big things, to somehow change it up, fix it up, move it around, whatever it is, to enhance and really shape the place where you hang out and where you spend all that time with the people that you love, or maybe just relaxing alone by yourself and having those moments called life. So thanks for a certain part of your Saturday with me. Now, what are the great products and the fun methods and the ideas and the trends? That's what you always can find out here on the show. And last weekend, we talked a little bit about things to do to your spaces. But, I also discovered that all the way through the weekend, I was out talking to just complete strangers, and everyone seemed to be doing the same thing that I was doing, putting together an earthquake survival safety kit. Did all this stuff out of Japan start to really freak you out and think, I thought I was ready, but I'm not really? Well, we had our safety kit. I mean, we have had it for years and years. We've gone through all that stuff. But I really thought, all that nightmarish devastation and suffering that we've seen for those poor folks in Japan, the earthquake, the tsunami, I wanted to really revisit what we had, and boy, did we have some problems with our safety kit. So I thought I'd share with you what is now in the kit and what used to be in the kit, and hopefully help you get ready for what is not if, but when, that big one coming up. Then later on, it also got me thinking about, the safety of my home's structure. Didn't you? I mean, when a really big earthquake happens, it's going to be 900 times, if you compare it to Japan's, of what we experienced with Northridge. How do you know if your home is going to be able to still endure that? Well, we have a contractor, building expert with us here, who specializes in retrofitting homes. What does that mean? It means making them earthquake safe. He's going to talk us through it to recognize what's going wrong with your home, why isn't it safe, and what you might be able to do to improve that and finally have some peace of mind. Then we're going to shift gears. The Pasadena Showcase House is underway, the renovation that is. Gosh, they're just a few weeks away from having to have showtime and open up the doors to all of us, those 50,000 people who will be taking the tour. And we always spend about a month or so talking about it so we can learn and get smart with all the different designers and their spaces and kind of steal their ideas. I love that. So we're going to start and kick things off today with them. We're going to talk with a couple of landscape designers. I think you're really going to like it because they had some different kind of spaces, but yet very common to what we deal with every day. The front entry to your home, and maybe that little corner that's like, this is a nook and cranny, and what the heck are you going to do with it in your garden? So wait till you find out what they did, and we're going to learn from them. And then finally, a little bit later, we're going to also talk with this other landscaper in terms of how to use different kinds of decking materials and really make that outdoor living room completely rock your world. So keep the number handy. It's 888-KFWB 980, 888-539-2980. And before we get started, I'm so excited. Thanks to the Dream, we're about to have an app for that. It's kind of here. It's still being completed, but stay tuned. I'm hoping maybe by next week I'll be able to tell you how to get it for your smartphone, your iPhone, your Android. I mean, I'm really, really excited you'll be able to then hear the shows, see the videos, and just kind of follow stuff as you're on the road. So how cool is that? So first, let's talk about this whole earthquake safety kit, all right? Do you have one? All right, by now you probably have heard about it over and over and over again. But when I went back and looked at our earthquake safety kit, I started to think, all right, yeah, I know we have maybe 3 weeks of food and water, but somehow, somewhere, there's just something missing with our kit. All right, so, we're all going to have that SOS. Here's the big deal. When that big earthquake comes, we're going to want and need help, but it's not going to come for days and days, and maybe not even for weeks on end. You know how when Northridge happened, everybody rushed to the grocery store. Within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, all the food was gone. So we want to be ready, we want to be smart, we want to be calm, and we want to be survivors. And so I'd love to hear what you have in your kit. Feel free to call on in at 888-539-2980 if you want to share what you've got in your kit, 888-539-2980. But first, I'm going to share with you what we have in ours. First, we have these large plastic tubs, all right? And they've been in our little area that's kind of between our laundry room and our garage. We call, the back room. And it's been okay. But boy, I didn't realize that it had gone 3 to 4 years since we checked it last. What the heck is my problem? So that means that things like, the water and the food and all that stuff, even the batteries that were oozing. I had this great brand new flashlight kit. The package wasn't even open, and the batteries were oozing in the package. So the lesson learned there is when you do finally get your kit together, which I hope you do this weekend, kind of mark on the outside somewhere the last time you inspected it so that you know a year from now to check it out, because all these things, they have a certain shelf life. And then you're kind of like up a creek, because there you think you have this great kit, but it's not good anymore. So that's not good at all. So here we go. Here's what I found, and I have in mind. The food that was outdated by 3 years. Well, I also discovered that my whistle for safety didn't work. And again, the batteries that were oozing. And anyway, so I thought, I've got to just change this up right now. So here's what we finally did. Step one, how many people do you need to have food for and water for? How many pets in your home? The safety experts say plan on storing enough for 3 to 4 weeks for each person and pet. So when you try to figure out the math, water is the most important thing. According to the International Bottled Water Association, this bottled water could last us maybe for up to 2 years, but you need to go back and see every year just to cycle things out and be safe, all right? So how much water is that per person? Here's what we figured out. You want to have a gallon of water per person per day, and remember that you're going to need to have some of it to maybe boil some rice or beans to make some food to give your dog or cat. So that basically translates to about 4 of those 1-liter bottles of water per person per day. That's a gallon. And about 25 bottles of those in those packaged trays of water. So a good idea is maybe to get 3 or 4 of those boxes of bottles, and then you'll be set for the 3 to 4 weeks. On food, I wanted to get things that have a longer shelf life. So, those breakfast bars, they don't last very long. You're lucky when you look on the expiration date for them to be around for more than even, 3 weeks. So avoid salty items. I avoided those. Instead, I got the resealable plastic bag of raisins. And I found that these raisins, the jumbo bag you get at one of those larger convenience stores, right? That lasts for 1 or 2 years. Done. I'm all over that. Then the next good thing is, of course, canned goods. My husband and I, we try to avoid carbs in our regular routine. So now we're thinking, we're going to chili up, we're going to pasta up, rice up. But simply, those are the things that are least expensive, and they're going to work, and they're going to have a longer shelf life. So get, the canned chili, the canned soups, or those cup of noodles, those things that all last about a year or two. So those are some good things that I had, and just some, some survival skills 101. And then some friends of mine, they have a propane barbecue in the backyard, so they can use that. We didn't have that. We use natural gas. Well, the gas line is going to probably be off. You're going to be having no electricity. So how will you heat your food? Well, we've got one of those little propane barbecue things, and we're good to go. More good food to think about is canned fruit. Those babies will last you about a year, and it's good to have some of that vitamin C. And peanut butter, I know it has a little salt, but it was practical for me, so I got that. And then beyond the food and the water, of course, you want to think of your pet food. Keep enough for 3 to 4 weeks for them to have. And while you're getting all these things, you want to have this also for your car kit. Now, what's the car kit? You want to have perhaps a backpack, because there's a chance that you'll be on the road and you'll be stranded, and you'll have to be able then to walk from your car back to your home and your home safety kit. And how are you going to get there? And it might be a long walk. So you want to have maybe about 4 bottles of water in a backpack with some tennies and maybe some raisins or bars in there. So back to the home kit, okay? Beyond the food and the water, what else? Of course, you want to have first aid kits. That's a must. You can buy them anywhere pre-made. In fact, you can buy these pre-made earthquake kits. I like to make them myself. You can buy them in the military surplus stores, big box stores online. Heads up, though, I bought one of these safety kits online, and when it arrived, the expiration date said 3 years prior to the date of purchase. That wasn't so cool. Lighting. You're going to need flashlights. You can't think enough about flashlights, spare batteries. We just bought this lantern that is powered by LED. That's a really good idea because they last even longer than regular batteries. And you can also you got to get these radios. The radios that are not only a radio and flashlight combined, but a siren. You can get all 3 in 1 online or in the stores. And now they have them, of course, the kind that crank up, although it doesn't last quite as long as a battery, but something to keep in mind. You want to have kitchen matches for that propane barbecue, but just be careful that there aren't any gas leaks first, and all that good stuff. Now, after the lighting essentials and the radio and, of course, the first aid kit, don't forget to have some safety shoes, tennis shoes and boots. And what we've done now that we have this kit that's all updated, we have our main kit, and we're going to put it in this large plastic trash can on wheels outside our home in a good, safe place outside. Then we're going to have another mini version that's in our bedroom. And then beneath the bed, you want to have some tennis shoes and your backpack to run in a hurry if something happened while you were asleep. So you can get to your car where you have your other kit or whatever, so you're covered in all the different places. So I hope that helps. You can go to my website, cindydole.com, and that's where you could just put in the search bar earthquake safety kit, and there you can print out all these things to hopefully keep you safe. Don't forget cash. Keep $500 on hand in that main kit, and make copies of your important ID documents, the passport, the driver's license, the home insurance, and put it in a Ziploc bag and in all those kits. And I know it probably sounds like you're being paranoid, but it's not. I mean, that earthquake and that tsunami in Japan was so frightening. And you've got to have it. And don't forget, too, having in that main home kit a blanket and a sleeping bag and some things like that, because you're going to have to stay warm. There's not going to be heat, for 3 to 4 weeks. So hopefully that helps you. We're going to keep talking about earthquake stuff, because we can't just be living in la-la land thinking, oh, well, we're happy, don't worry. We need to also think about the structure of our home. We've got a guy who's going to help us to determine if maybe you need to have your home retrofitted. I'm Cindy Dole, and this is Home Wizards on KFWB News Talk 980.
Somebody came and took your bed, don't worry, be happy.